Reseller Clickbait Podcast, episode 50. Jimmy, yes, before we get started here, I got to do something here because it's going to be a big topic of the show. I got my FOMO sign here, my feeling of missing out, fear of missing out, and here we go.
No longer missing out.
Tearing that sign up.
Yeah, but episode 50.
Yes.
Episode 50. That's how much Ken bets on each roll of the of the dice and craps. $50 every roll.
Oh man, I wish I had that kind of money to bet on craps. Because you win some, you lose some.
You lose some.
Jimmy's a slot machine. He's a slot machine. Wait.
Let's not talk about me being a machine. We're gonna talk about that later. I'm not any kind of machine at all. I'm not a slot machine. I'm not a craps machine. I'm just full of craps, is what I am.
And we'll get to that later too.
Wait, what?
Speaking of full of craps, Dude Wipes, the official sponsor of the Reseller Clickbait Podcast. Jimmy, did you bring the Dude Wipes home from the hotel?
I didn't bring the Dude Hype. I did the Dude Hypes, the Dude Wipes home. I have a huge fear of being stopped at security when I'm going through at the airport, and so Dude Wipes to me, I was like, this could possibly. There's like a 2% chance that they'll stop to check this, and I'm not taking that 2%.
I was surprised I brought them when I came, so they made it through security. We'll talk about making it through security here in a few minutes, but
they had been open because I think Ken used at least 30 to 40 while we were there.
I was surprised, when you're in that aisle at the Walmart or wherever you shop, where all the little bottles of shampoo and all the travel accessories are. I couldn't have been more surprised when I looked over and in one of the little things there was travel Dude Wipes.
You were
and
we were like, what an opportunity to use our sponsor.
That's right. Right there in the room on the trip to the speaking of that, we didn't even mention we went to Vegas, Jimmy. We went to Vegas.
We went to
over the weekend for the Trash to Cash Vegas Bash.
That was the whole craps joke. That was what that was what I was referencing. The fact that we were in Vegas,
And okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, maybe this is somebody's first time. They've never heard of Trash to Cash. They've never heard of the Reseller Clickbait Podcast. They're here, new subscriber.
I doubt
if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Thumbs up.
We just got a bunch of new subs, so it's possible.
We did.
We're over 300 now. Check us out.
We'll give that credit to the D.O.G.
300. That's how much Ken bets per roll of the slot machine. $300.
If I think I might have lost $300, I'm not sure on the aforementioned craps and slot machines, but so
let's talk about the trip there because you asked me about the Dude Wipes and my anxiety to have something that will get security to stop me. We both had an adventure getting to Vegas.
We did. I'm not a traveler.
My adventure, I think, has a little more
adventure to it.
Yeah, adventure to my adventure.
There you go.
So let's start with your adventure to get.
So I'm not a traveler. I've talked about that. I have no fear of flying, but I have travel anxieties. And I'm really worked up way ahead of time, a couple weeks ahead of time.
Months, at least.
Yes. As soon as I bought the tickets, like in February, I already started, I quit eating, I quit sleeping, worrying about.
He actually had a full head of hair and no gray.
I was a young man. So, I'm, paranoid. And most of the time when I travel, I'm always with Jill, and Jill really knows how to navigate an airport and what to do. I'm not, so every time I'm with her, I just follow along, like a lemming. What's Jill doing? Okay, I'll do that too. So anyway, I got to do this thing myself. And, I'm making sure when I'm at the thing, I've got all my pockets emptied. I've got, hat, shoes off, and I put them in the thing. And then you have to go through that one security thing, you hold your arms up and the thing spins around. And this is when I was leaving to head out there. And the guy says, do you have anything in your pockets? I'm like, no, I had emptied my pockets. He's like, Are you sure you have nothing in your pockets? And I checked, and like my front pocket, that I had stuffed a napkin in there, which then I couldn't feel. So I reached in the pocket. I had a napkin.
You had a dude wipe in
Yeah,
your front pocket.
it was I needed that minty freshness, so the passenger beside me wouldn't anyway, smell my breath. Let's say I was gonna chew on that thing. So I have to step to the side now, and the guy's giving me all the instructions. He's gonna frisk me, and I'm gonna run my hands along your belt line and up your leg. And so I'm already, and I think the guy could tell that I was just not doing well with that. Not because that I don't know. I was just, because at one point he just looked at me and he just says, it's okay. Don't worry. It's okay. And then I had to hold my palms out, and they ran this like wand across my hands and took it over to some little security station and did something with it, and for a napkin that was in my pocket. And
that's why I didn't take the dude wipes, because that's what I don't want to happen.
So I got through that, and then I made the trip, and it was actually not too bad. I felt good. I didn't have that kind of queasy stomach that I would usually get, or feelings of dread. And I think it helped because the gal that was sitting beside me, she looked like she was in worse shape than I was. And so I think I had just like the empathy for her,
right?
Because I could tell the movements and the actions and the reactions were exactly what I would normally do.
Oh
and
my
so
gosh.
It's almost like I was looking out for her.
That reminds me of just real quick on my flight back, because I just reminded me. Yes. I had the lady on our flight when we were taking off. Oh my god! 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 She was like yelling at takeoff for like 30 seconds until we were like up in the air, and I was like, talk about getting everybody else like on the edge of their seat and stuff. Like, see something out the window? Like, what's happening back there?
My lady. Oh, speaking of seeing stuff out the window, that's a side note. On the way home from Vegas, I got to see a rare sighting of the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights.
Wow, that was
out to one side of the plane. It was just whatever conditions were right, and the pilot came on and said, "Hey,
that's the sewer
we
plant.
have a that's not the noise. That's gas from the
Sorry.
Nice reference.
Is that what he says right there? He says something about the sewer.
It's a sewage plant.
Sewage plant.
It's but yeah, the pilot, come on and did his folks, we got a great treat tonight here on the flight home. We'll be home in about 35 minutes, but if you look out the left side of the plane, you'll see the Northern Lights. And so everybody was diving towards that side of the plane and to look at, but it was pretty cool. I got the guy in the aisle across from me, because of course, naturally, when there's anything cool out the plane window, it's always on the other side of the plane. Of
course, so you had to stand up and crawl across.
That the guy in the aisle right next to me, he got up and said, "Hey, you want to look out?" So yeah, I got to get up and take a peek, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, and especially when you were kind of way above it. To look down on it was a neat experience. I had not seen anything like that before, so had that going for me on the trip home.
My adventures.
Yes.
So there was a Discord for the Trash to Cash meetup where people talked about, what we're gonna do while we're there. Well, on travel day, a lot of people were traveling on the same day as us that Thursday.
Yes.
And the message just started rolling in, like delayed flight, because your flight was delayed a little bit.
Yeah.
Some like Corey and Teresa, their flight was delayed like 3 hours. Grumpy and Happy, their flight got canceled.
Yeah.
And then they had to get another flight, like 1 o'clock in the morning or something stupid like that. And so I'm just like looking it up, and there was problems with the runways in Vegas. Like the 2 of the runways were shut down, unexpected shutdowns, and so they were only operating on half of their runways and stuff. And so I'm like, oh man, I'm like, these poor people, like my flight's an hour late. That's not terrible.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, they come on the loudspeaker. I can't do that voice. Those of you on flight 775.
Attention passengers flying Frontier Airlines flight number 3147. We've
headed to Vegas.
Canceled the flight.
Your flight has been canceled. And that's literally all they said. Like, they didn't, and the guy was like, he like ran. He was like, I'm gone. I'm out of here. I'm not talking to these people. And so, and the thing that sucked was Frontier's not the best. Is like you have to do it all on your phone. They're like, check your app. And well, you can't do it. So you can't do anything through the app unless, let me rewind a little bit. Denver, Denver's airport is the worst for lines. I mean, I know all airports are pretty bad. I went through the Vegas airport and it was like nothing. It was literally 1/50th of the line that Denver had the day out. I mean, Denver's line was insane to get through.
And I would confirm that when I was in the TSA line and in Vegas, there was a couple of dudes standing behind me and they were talking about different airports. And the one guy says, man, Denver is like the worst. I hate flying through Denver. And I was like, man, Jimmy was just talking about that.
And so everywhere has a line. So like, here's the scenario. My flight got canceled. I have to go back and talk to, either I do it through the app or go back and talk to a Frontier ticket agent. Which has a line that's going to take an hour. Then I talk to them. Then I have to go through security again. If I get another flight, I have to go back through the 60-mile long security line. So I'm like, this sucks. Like, I'm going home because you can't do anything on the app until the flight is either 3 hours late or canceled. Well, it took it an hour and a half for it to show that it was actually canceled. So I wasn't able to set up my next flight for another hour and a half. So I was mad, furious. I'm like, I'm going home. Like, there's nothing I can do here. Like, it's just a disaster. So Sonia came and got me and went home. And I was able, once the apps showed that the flight had been canceled, I was able to select a new flight. And the only flight they had available was at 9:07 p.m. or something like that. And then it got delayed like 45 minutes. So I didn't get out of Denver till almost 10 o'clock at night. And so, it was awful. Now, there was a slight reward is the fact that, every fat guy's dream, there was nobody sitting in the seat next to me on the way out there. So I was literally like, you know what? It's almost worth it. It's almost worth it. I won't tell the story about, because Ken doesn't like the story about the first flight that was delayed actually worked out perfect for me, because I'll tell you what, those bubble guts hit me right. I'm not even exaggerating. I looked at my phone while I was in the while I was in the bathroom. I looked at my phone. I was like, oh, well, this was our original takeoff time right now. And I'm on the toilet with bubble guts because of little nerves and stuff. So it actually worked out perfect.
See, it would have been a perfect time to have some dude wipes
Dude wipes.
Too. Well, see, I'm not flying now, Jimmy, so you can tell me all the bubble gut, nervous stomach stories you want to.
I literally was like, man, this actually worked out perfect. That is at this point, I only thought I was like 50-something minutes delayed. So like it actually worked out perfect for me and everybody else on the plane, because they would have been like, woo. So that was awful, that flight, that whole delay. And I was hot. Like, I don't, that's a moment where I kind of shut down. Like, I don't really want to talk to anybody about it. I don't really want to, like, I just want the problem to be solved now and be done with it. So, that sucked.
That's the travel part is always difficult. I guess the only other thing, so I had my security pat down and sweep, on the way there. And so on the way home, I'm like, okay, I'm making sure I'm not even going to wear underwear on this. I'm
leaving the dude wipes
on the plane. Everything's out of my pocket. I put everything in my bag and all of that stuff.
You wanted to be Chris going commando. I think that was actually
so when you go, well, they still ended up having to, handle my nuts, Jimmy, or they had to inspect my nuts. Because when you go to Vegas, Well, way to blow the punchline.
Oh, sorry.
I
didn't know. You didn't tell me. I guessed. I just guessed.
You know how when you're going to Vegas when you're leaving, and like you put all your stuff in the trays.
Yep.
And so and when you come out on the other side of the little machine and you get your thing. So one of my tubs is on the other side of the security check.
It got ejected.
And so the guy had to scan it. And he's like, hey, what? He's like, I'm gonna have to look in the bag. And Jill had bought me some peanuts, and
you made it with them, but you didn't make it back.
I didn't make it back. Yeah. So that guy got in the bag, and he expected, and he wanted them, and so
he wanted your nuts.
Yeah, he wanted my nuts.
Good.
And so
not wanted, folks. Wanted, not wanted. Come on.
Yeah.
Keep it clean.
A D.
We're talking about peanuts, folks.
So now travels, we're there at the hotel. Jimmy is going to be late. So now I got to check in. The room's in Jimmy's name.
Oh my
Jimmy
God.
goes, he does the early check-in. His bank flags it as a suspicious thing because it was such a big expense in the hotel in Vegas. It was an uncommon thing to happen. So they flagged it, canceled it.
Yep.
We had to kind of go back, and I don't know what all worked out.
Well, it was also because I was spending money at the Denver airport at the exact same time they were trying to run it in Vegas. So they're like, there's no way that card is in two places at once.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's what actually flagged it.
And all I want to do when I get someplace after travel is just, I just need to lay down for a second. Yes.
Tell them your text messages as soon as you get off the phone. As soon as you got off your plane and you open up your text messages, what did you see?
Was it?
You got off the plane.
Jimmy's flight was.
And you had to check your phone.
I'm trying to remember. That's like 3 or 4 days ago.
You were probably being blown up from me and Jill.
And it's like Jimmy's flight is canceled. Oh, Jimmy's like, oh, my flight's 45 minutes late, and it's like, dude, my flight's canceled.
Yeah.
I'm going home. I'm not coming. It's like, if I can't get another flight, I'm not coming. And I'm thinking, oh, great. Jimmy's got the room. What am I going to do? I'm in the airport here. I'm trying to figure out, how I'm going to get, because we were supposed to be at the airport at the same time. We were going to, Uber or whatever over to the hotel and check in. And I was just going to get to lay down for a few minutes. And here now we're in the hotel, and there was a big fight this weekend.
Yeah.
At a professional, not Sunny.
Yeah, I was going to say there were two big fights. We'll talk about the other one a little bit later.
A professional boxing match was being held at the MGM. And so the hotel was just nuts with people
it was
checking in, and that fight night was just crazy around there. Yep. So we'll get into that too, but it was I get checked in to the hotel, and I finally get to go up to the room and just chill. And then it was quiet because Jimmy wasn't there, because Jimmy can actually be loud.
I don't ever
if you have an opportunity to travel with Jimmy and stay, I would say, pass on that.
I'll remember that.
No, it was a good time. Oh, so all of that happens. We get there, and we'll kind of go back and forth, but and so I was up just kind of resting in the room, and then I get a message from Corey and Teresa, Grams and Pops Vintage,
the mamas and the papas,
that they had finally arrived, and they were hanging out down by the food court area.
Yeah,
and there was that kind of informal meetup at the
food
court in the MGM.
Yeah.
And so we were down there about maybe an hour or so early, and just kind of got to meet them and just visit. And then that whole thing happened. A bunch of other resellers came around, and they all.
That's what I ended up missing because I was late.
And
which isn't a big deal.
The trash to cashers came around. That was cool of them to because they weren't supposed to be there. They were going to a show that evening, and they took time out before they came to just kind of come and say hey and greet everybody. And they were there, maybe 20, 25 minutes, something like that, just beforehand. And everybody got to, kind of kibitz with them a little bit. And
what was that word?
Kibitz.
That's a word?
Yes, it is.
Nation of origin?
Yeah. Can you please use that in a sentence? Let's see. Let me see. Is it kibitz is a verb, not to be confused with kibbutz. I don't know. Kibitz means to stand around talking and making wisecracks.
How do I not know these words? Is this is an old person word, I feel like, for sure.
I don't know what its origin is. But yeah, that's exactly what we were kibitzing. We were all standing around talking and making wisecracks.
Oh, wow.
And so
interesting. I'm actually pretty good at
well. Then. And so Jimmy finally gets there. We go down. Everybody else had went to bed, and me and Grams and Pops, they were still up. We all walked down to the lobby, met up with Jimmy when he got there.
It was a little bit after 11, right?
Yeah, about maybe 20 after 11 Vegas time, which is already 2, 20 after 2 my time, what my body's time at that point. And so I'm stopping by, and we're going, they have like the little shops in all the hotels and stuff. And Teresa stopped by. She's going to get like a water and a soda. I'm like, oh, cool. I could use something to drink. I grab a couple like throwaways, like 20-ounce bottles of soda. I grab one for me, and I said, Jimmy's been traveling. He's probably going to be thirsty. I put it up on the counter. 2 bottles of pay. She's like, anything else? No. Okay, that's $11.98 for two freaking sodas.
Yep.
And they didn't have apple cider in them or anything. They just had straight Coke Zero.
No cranberry juice in there.
There was nothing to mix with them. Oh, but it was refreshing, and it was good.
Yeah, I definitely appreciated that soda when I walked in the door. Yep.
So I'm wore out. We get back to the room. To the room. Jimmy, puts his bags down. He's like, man, when I get to Vegas, I'm a machine. I don't want to go to bed. Are you ready to go to bed? And I'm thinking, yeah, he just got here. He had a hard travel day. What do you want to do? Let's go down. Look at now. I'm a machine, man. Let's go. I'm a machine.
Say it that many times. Here we go.
And so we go down and just kind of tour around in the hotel just to kind of see what's there. We go over by the food court. Grab a little something to eat there, and just generally look around. I don't know what time we get back up to the room. Maybe their time, it's probably maybe 1:45 or something, or
a
little after 2, which is again 5 a.m. for me. And so then it's time to go to bed. All right, and I got there first, so I got to choose my side of the bed. And I think we had talked
about the bed, your side of the room.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, don't be trying to fulfill fantasies over here, all right?
Yes. Yeah. I got to choose my bed first. It was a double room. I took the top bunk because for some reason they had bunk beds in this hotel.
Weird. There was plenty of room for activities though in the rest of the room.
So I took the bed furthest from the air conditioner, but closest to the bathroom. That's the ideal spot for me, because Jimmy likes it a little bit cooler. And then
my family's being really loud. Can you hear them?
I can.
Wow,
I'm quiet.
They're like wrestling with the dogs and stuff up there. Sorry.
So Jimmy, we're just kind of, we get settled, rested or whatever. Jimmy's like, at home, I usually have a fan on or whatever. And when I travel, I have this app that has white noise or something. He has this app, which wait, is it playing? Oh, it's not on there. I can't read the screen, but I'm pretty sure that app came from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Fan.
Yes.
Sleep aid fan.
It's supposed to be a sleep aid. Play that thing, Jimmy. I think it was like listen to this, folks. It's like that new, heavy, the Heavy 5 rocket that SpaceX put out. And
oh wait, I gotta turn my phone volume
so
down.
I'm not, okay. Listen, and I'm supposed to sleep through this. Now if you're ever sleeping with Jimmy, here's a new segment of the show. Tips for sleeping with Jimmy.
What are you talking about?
Try to go to sleep first. Once I'm asleep, I'm done. I'm out
it's
until
that white noise
it's
that helps
time
you
to
sleep.
wake up. And so Jimmy's over there with that's not him snoring. That's because that didn't come till later when he actually went to sleep. And so
was it?
Yeah,
it wasn't. You were hold on. You were a printer operator. That's where I got the whole needing white noise to sleep, because I would sleep at work all the time. So the printer,
so the press
sound
with
of
that
the printer would put me to sleep. So the white noise really helps.
It was so did get to sleep. Next day, get up, ready to go, ready to rip roaring. And what see, so now we're up to Friday. Oh, it was the bins trip.
Yep.
We went down to the bins in Goodwill, and basically the kind of the whole group of folks that were resellers, everybody that had made it there so far, most all of them went to the
some
bins.
surprises. I didn't know Ginger Marvin was going to be there, and Ginger Marvin was there.
Good to see Chris and Kathy.
Yep.
Yes. That's the first time I had met them. So
that's the first time I got to meet Chris. So yeah, that was cool.
And sorry, I keep having my lips just got really super chapped when I was there.
Some up at the bins that he shouldn't have. And
yeah, is that bad Blistex at the bins? I found this too, but it looked only partially used, so I thought it'd be okay. No, I bought that at the hotel. I don't think I've ever used an entire thing of chapstick or this is Blistex, because you just lose them or your lips are no longer chapped and you don't need them. But I had to pay $6 for this one tube.
Every bit of that thing.
I'm gonna if my lips get healed, I'm just gonna gnaw off the end of it. I'm gonna eat this.
Chew it. I'm just gonna chew.
I'm just gonna chew it until get the inside of my lips. So we're at the bins, which was a crazy experience because I've never been to a true bin store.
And I'll say this real quick: you still haven't been to a true bin store.
Okay, why is that?
Because I've been to the bins. I've been to the bins in Denver. I've been to the bins in Colorado Springs, and I know I've been to another bins out of state. And I've been to the Vegas bins, but I've been to a different bins, maybe. But regardless, all of us that go to the bins know that there's very strict rules at the bins.
Okay.
Like while they're for instance, Don said when they're moving the bins out to the floor, you're not supposed to touch them at all. And like in Utah, they put sheets over the bins so you can't even look at what's in there until they're all out there, and then they pull the sheets off, and then they say, "Get behind the red line." And then everybody's supposed to be behind the red line the whole time, anyways.
Yes.
Once they say, so they just want to make sure everybody get behind the red line before they say shop.
Yeah.
So once everybody's behind the red line, they say, "All right, shop." And these are, for the most part, rules everywhere. These rules did not have existed in Vegas at all.
Yeah, there were people everywhere.
While they're bringing the bins out, are literally shopping, digging. Now, they're not actually pulling items.
Yeah.
I'll say that. But they are digging through them, looking through them, and digging through them for the good items. So when they do say go, they know right where the good items are.
Yes.
Comment down below if you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this is unheard of. I was like, in Denver, all y'all would have been kicked out. Every last one of you guys would be outside. Yeah. You would have been done here. So, and then to find out that like Carrie's not allowed to film over there because that's the one rule they do enforce.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, what's going on over there in Vegas? Anyway.
It was the thing that I know, and I don't understand people sometimes. Okay. They have the rule. There was like the red line, and they kept saying, and
they kept saying it. They didn't enforce it.
And the people just would stand there. They'd say, everybody behind the red line, you have to get behind the red line. And people are like halfway up into the middle of the bins.
Yeah.
And they just we're not going to shop until you get behind that red line. And people just
ignored them.
Stood there.
Yep.
And then finally, I think it would get it was just like a standoff, and finally they would just say, okay, go ahead and shop. And people, but it was chaotic, but it was fun. It was I just don't, here's what I know is I'm like I felt like I was watching one of your videos, Jimmy. You know how you slam stuff around?
Yeah.
How you slam stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely, you gotta watch the digits there.
It's I couldn't believe how people treated that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, just pick stuff up and just throw it.
Yeah,
and it's
like little refrigerators in there, and they'll throw them right on top of your hands and stuff.
I don't. There was one guy walking around. He had found like this plastic grenade. It looked like a real grenade, and it had like a ticking sound to it. And so I'm standing there by one of the bins, and he just walks over and he like pull and just pitches it in the bin right in front of me. It's like, holy, someone's throwing grenades in this place. And then he, I looked up at him and he just smiled and he picked it back up and carried it on to the next sucker that was over there. But the bins was an experience.
That Dave's a real prankster. I can't believe you did that.
I didn't pick anything myself. I didn't buy anything. We picked, and at first I started. They had done a scavenger hunt. They had like slipped with all these items that you could find, and whoever found the most would win that. But the items that I picked, I had given like to Dawn and Carrie for
they were doing the
whatnot. Yeah. That so they were doing the
pick for the whatnot.
Yeah. So that was cool to be able to and mostly it was also a good way to meet some of the other resellers that I hadn't met up to that point, because this was kind of like the first event, or people that hadn't made it to the food court the night before. And I just walk around and look in their cards and hey, what you finding good stuff, and just kind of see what those people were picking. And a lot of you had some of them that were all focused on clothes, and you had some that were all focused on, all they had was electronics in their cart. You had other people that were, so it was really neat to see the difference.
I honestly didn't pay a lot of attention to that, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's what I see. I'm an ambassador, Jimmy. I'm there to make sure, even though it wasn't my event per se, although everybody was there to see me, it was, I just like to walk around. I like to make sure that everybody's having a good time, that they're enjoying themselves, is it themselves or themselves? Enjoying themselves.
I think it's them. I don't know. You're asking me?
How about themselves? And it was fun just to meet people and talk to them and see what they had. And so the bins was a cool experience, and everybody, some people bought a little, some people bought tons of stuff. And I've seen videos of people that are like, man, that went to the bins and went to the good ones, like, how are we going to get this stuff home? And they're shipping big boxes. I think
that's why
Happy Picker and Grumpy Picker, I think they were ones. I seen a video today where they had to ship.
Are we going to be able to get this all home? Yeah,
ship a big FedEx box home. And
I've done that before for sure. I've done Sunny Las Vegas has shipped me a box home, but with me moving, I was like, no, I'm just going to help source for the whatnot, and that's about all I did.
Yeah, I wasn't real interested in picking. So from there, we all went out to the In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah,
which was cool. I had never been to. We don't have In-N-Outs around here anywhere. Right. So it was good to hear that you hear so much about how great they are. Some people are like, oh, it's the greatest burger ever. And
is it the greatest burger ever?
Well, I didn't think so, but I did not dislike. I mean, it was a burger. It was a fast food burger. It was good. The fries were really good, fresh. I seen a guy in the back working, because there was like, they must have had 35 people working back there.
Yeah.
And it's all he did the whole time.
Yeah. I actually don't like them like that. I don't like the fresh fry.
So those were good. I guess the takeaway, or the funniest moment at the In-N-Out was, we were all sitting there in a group. I'd say at least a half a dozen other resellers, just kind of right there at all the tables. And all of a sudden you heard like a cha-ching. And they was like gunslingers at the Old West. Everybody's like, boom. Who was it? Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Flipping and to see who had made a sale right there.
Yeah. I wasn't there when that happened. I was eating outside.
Yeah, you would went outside to eat in the warm Vegas sun with Sonny and Art and some of those other guys were outside and but it was actually Bill in a box in a garage, if you follow him on Instagram.
In a box to the left, in a garage. That's a song, right?
I think so. It's good to meet Bill and Mike, you know, in a box in a garage.
In a box.
And
that's not where we met them. That's the name of their channel.
No, yeah, that's the name of the
channel. We didn't meet Bill and Mike in a box in a garage.
I actually met them at the In-N-Out Burger. Well, I guess beforehand.
Yeah, we had met them at the bins.
And but they also won the scavenger hunt. Which the prize was like $40 to win the scavenger hunt at the Goodwill bins.
Because I found almost everything on there.
Yeah, they had all but 3 things, I think.
I wonder what 3 things they didn't find.
I don't know. I didn't ask. But so they had won that and got the cha-ching at lunch. So they were winning all afternoon.
All right. Yeah.
Then what? We went to some sales after that. Somebody had found the
worst
yard sale, or
wait,
it was supposed to be an estate sale.
An estate sale, but it was really just a reseller's garage sale that had everything priced way too high.
Ridiculous.
And she was literally looking stuff up on eBay, so we all know how awful that is. And the fact that it was listed as an estate sale is what I don't, do your hustle, whatever, but don't lie and say it's an estate sale. It was literally just a small garage sale where she was looking everything up.
Yes. It was, but that was fun to go over there and, a whole group of resellers descend on.
And at that point, we can just go ahead and fast forward to Fremont Street.
No, Jimmy, I have a story in between there.
No, nothing important happened.
So we get back to the hotel.
And Fremont. Let's just talk about Fremont Street.
So we were riding around with Sonny. Sonny Las Vegas was, took us, he had picked us up and we went to the bins and we went to the yard sales. And there was a whole nother group of people that were in vehicles and they were all going to go yard sailing. And we wanted to go back to the hotel and just chill for a little bit before Fremont. So we get a message later from Grams and Pops and it said, hey, we're going to go to dinner at Ellis Island at some pub or some place in Ellis Island.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to meet us there.
Any of this. I don't remember. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, but probably because you got heat stroke and exhaustion from so Jimmy looks it up where it's at, and I'm not blaming all this on him. He says, hey, it's only like a mile.
It was less than a mile.
It was less than a mile. He's like, we could walk it. You want to walk? I'm like, sure.
Well, let me defend myself a little bit before we go more. No, because I know where the story's going, and I don't really care that much. I can pick on myself too, but I want to defend myself first.
Okay.
We know how far it was to walk to the Uber pickup. It's a long walk to the Uber pickup. I'm like, by the time we walk to the Uber pickup, we could be a quarter of the way to the restaurant.
Yeah. And it was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
It's like a mile. I'm like, yeah, I could do a mile, I could standing on my head.
Yeah.
Or rolling on my head, or what? Can you walk on your head? Okay. So what turned out to be a mile was more like the Baton Death March. Okay. So first of all, Jimmy's looking at his app and it's telling him which way to go. Now, had we went out the back of the hotel and not out the front doors, we'd have probably been a half a mile closer. We're out, we walk down the strip, we walk around the block, then we have to walk back around like the whole thing. And then we've probably walked about a mile. And every time he'd look at it, it'd still say it was a mile away.
We walked a mile and it had said it had actually gone up from 0.8 and it said we were a mile away still. So
we finally got to a corner
lied to me.
In a shady area back, behind where they're doing construction on the sidewalk. You're half walking in the street, half walking on the sidewalk. And it's like not even close to the hotel. So we decide, well, let's just walk back. So, which that's when we figured out when we walked back, it's like, oh wait, we're right here at the back side of the hotel. And we've already walked all this distance. And, but Jimmy's a machine.
I am a machine. Hey, I was running down that street.
And so we finally get back to the hotel, but it worked out great because we picked, there was like a little sports pub, eatery thing there. We got to just kind of sit there. It wasn't one of those loud places to eat. It was, nice and quiet. You just got to eat some food. Well, when it was like a half an hour away from needing to leave for Fremont Street, the guys that had all went to Ellis Island, they still hadn't got their food yet.
How did that work?
We had
walked. We walked 3 miles.
I don't know. I felt like the, I just had the proclaimers, go, and I would walk 500 miles.
Yeah, and we did. We walked 500 miles, and we still were able to beat them to Fremont Street, right? Basically.
Yeah, we ate. They rode with us.
Yeah,
they got back to the hotel,
right?
And because we took an Uber XL with Corey and Teresa, and then Alicia and Connor. Alicia, Inked Picker, who does the Flippin' Fantastic podcast.
I need to follow that podcast.
Yeah,
go check it out. Flippin' Fantastic.
Yes.
Is it like Philly Flipper where she does PH, or is it with an F?
No, they're with F's, and I think their show comes out on Fridays. Don't quote me. Just go find their page, Flippin' Fantastic. She does that with
or Flip In.
Flipping, I think. I'm gonna. Now you've got me.
We should.
As I'm looking for stuff, Jimmy. Here's a side non-Vegas note. 2 old guys picking immediately. Or 2 old guys reselling podcast, Chris and Caleb. Chris, Old School Picker.
Immediately the worst podcast out there now.
So they were like, hey, at least now Ken and Jimmy over at the Reseller Clickbait podcast are no longer the worst podcast. It's like, man, no love. We're getting dug. So
we're new kids on the block, and they're already bashing us.
Dave and I, Dave from the Trash Cash, of course, we were kind of conspiring a little bit of how we're going to take these guys down quick. You got to cut them off at the knees right away.
He went for some extreme measures. He went for the extreme measures.
Yeah, he went, straight murder, I think, is where he was going with it. I'm trying to find Alicia's
fantastic.
Flipping,
so we did meet up with them.
It's Flippin' 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 with an air comma and fantastic.
All right, I need to go sub to them. I'll do that after we're done here.
Yes. And that's a pretty good podcast that Alicia does. But they were fun, Alicia and Connor, to hang out with. That we all took an Uber down to Fremont Street.
That was the scariest Uber ride I've ever taken in my life.
That driver was just
he was crazy. And I could, like, everybody's all, what radio station is it on? And I'm like, what do you mean what radio? The car in front of us. What radio station is it on? Because you could see the radio station of the car in front of us. That's how close we were.
And it wasn't that like he would always drive that close. It's just that's how close he would stop.
Yeah.
All the traffic would stop and you're like, it's like, oh man, we're gonna
great sound effect.
Wasn't it? It's almost like I have my own soundboard here.
So that was a scary ride, but we made it. We made it there alive.
Yeah, and that was a great time because even more people that had then got there later in the day were down there and just walking down through. And Dave with the camera, they did a live. I have
the story of the night down there on Fremont Street that I want to tell.
Let's hear it.
Do tell the Sunny situation.
Oh, okay.
Is it all right if I tell that?
Is this where like there was more than one fight, one big in Vegas that night? Yes, I do tell.
So I had my moment to shine with the Trash to Cash podcast.
Yes.
Dave's walking up.
They allowed you to clean up after them.
They did. Actually, it was like kind of like, how guys clean up. They have the people that clean up after horses.
Yes,
that's what I was doing. I was following those 3 guys with a broom and a trash can, and they would just take a dump right there, and I was there because they were busy. They were doing a podcast.
Oh yeah,
dude wipes.
dude. Yeah.
No, so Dave was like, "Here, take the camera,
Yes.
walk for a bit, and talk to the people."
Yeah.
And so I literally was the main
Jimmy's
person on the
live.
podcast, talking to the people in the
Fremont.
chat, 300 people in there, and I'm talking to them and, talking about Fremont Street. I had the phone for maybe 30 seconds. And Dave comes running up behind me and grabs the phone out of my hand. He goes, "They're gonna fight." And he grabs the phone to go catch the fight. And so I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Yeah, the fight's gonna be at MGM. What are you talking about?" I look back and and Sonny is like face to face with this guy. And it's like they're gonna fight. And so I missed out on my chance to be a superstar because of that fight. There was no fight.
Yeah,
Some
not an
guy
actual
had
fight,
rudely
but
bumped into a couple people of our party, wasn't going to move out of the way, so he shouldered a couple people in our party. And so Sonny was the last person he decided to shoulder. And well, that just doesn't work for Sonny. So.
Yes. Yeah, he's he had said, I will never instigate anything, but man, I love to finish.
Right.
And,
yeah. And they didn't fight. The guy ended up walking off, and Sonny, but I missed out on my opportunity to be a superstar.
Yes.
I was actually going to be invited to the Trash to Cash podcast as their new host. Instead,
new guest. Instead, you're here schlepping around with me on a Tuesday
what's
night.
the word that you used earlier? The one about
kibitz?
Yeah, I'm stuck here kibitzing with you.
Kibitzing with me. Yeah. Well, it's not all bad. The D.O.G. who's surrounding me here.
Here we go.
We got to so we finish up with Fremont Street. So then we go back. That was a pretty cool after that. Everybody kind of disbanded and we still wanted to do stuff. So a small group of us, we all walked over to the New York hotel, which is right across the street from the MGM. And just for some dessert, we got some good there's a Hershey store in there. And some people got big they had these big s'mores that they would cook up right there. I got an excellent chocolate milkshake.
Yep. So
downstairs. Milkshakes are one of those things that it's like
bring all the girls to the yard. That's right. It's better than yours. That's right. It's better than. Oh, sorry.
I get every time I have a milkshake, it's like that first drink. It's like, this is just like heaven. This decadence. It was chocolatey Hershey, chocolatey goodness. And then about halfway through, I'm like, why did I get this milkshake? I am so done. But you don't want to waste it because it's Vegas and it's like a 20-ounce cup, like a medium McDonald's style, and it's like $28 or something.
Yeah, $28 like I believe is what they cost you. I'll just say that I never have had a milkshake that I didn't finish. I don't know what you're talking about.
I like a milkshake. Now I'm a big fan of it's either chocolate but a pineapple milkshake.
Right.
I used to go down. Do you guys have United Dairy Farmers stores? It's like a little convenience store out there. We have United Dairy Farmers around here, and a pineapple milkshake. There's nothing better on a.
Can I go when I move to Ohio? Will I be able to have one?
Yes, there is a United Dairy Farmers in the town you are moving to.
All right.
And that's where I used to get them all the time. Like anytime I was doing my billing, and that was usually at the end of the day after stuff was done. Before I get started, I'd head down. I'd get me a nice big
the old pineapple milkshake.
And pineapple milkshake and have that. So that's probably my favorite flavor. But I'm usually a straight chocolate guy. I'm not cookies and cream and all of this stuff different. And I just a little bit of whipped cream in there is always good. But so we go back. So what we do, we had all that stuff that we had the death march and all of that stuff.
The death march.
So we went to New York, and by that time we were just
machine march.
We were just dead. Which that brings me to, I think, the line of the weekend.
Yeah.
The line of the weekend we decided we didn't really have anything to do till the Whatnot auction in the afternoon.
Right.
Okay, we're just going to chill and sleep in. Well, I had woke up, a little bit early, and I was just, kind of being quiet. Jimmy was still asleep. Oh, he had worn himself out so much he didn't even need the jet propulsion app on his phone the night before, because it was like basically as soon as we went back to the room, it was crash out. So the next morning we wake up and Jimmy's like, I don't know, he slept probably an hour and a half or so after I did.
Yep.
Got up a little bit later, and like one of the first things he says is, man, in that tired, that sleepy eye voice, I don't know why I said I was a machine.
That's not how it went down.
That's exactly how it went. I don't know why I said I was a machine. It was just like, yeah, because I mean, we were fatigued from the day before. Not only did we walk all that extra thing trying to get to the Ellis Island, just Fremont Street, fighting that crowd all the way down.
Letting the facts get in the way of a good story is what's happening right now.
What are the facts, Jimmy? The facts of life. You take the good, you take the bad.
The facts of the matter
there you have the facts of life.
Was I worn down?
There's a time you gotta know.
Not like the kind of worn down that you think like, oh, I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be all serious, but because I'll pick on myself, but sure. I'm been overweight my whole life, and for the first time ever, like physically, like my calf muscles and my ankles were not functioning the next morning. Because I got up.
Yeah.
I got up to go get ready. Because I was supposed to go yard sales with Corey and Teresa and Alicia and all them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got up to go get ready, walk to the bathroom, and I literally, my calf muscles were just like, it's not happening today. Like, as far as energy, I was good to go.
Yes.
But my legs were like, you can't walk, dude. You cannot walk. That's fine. Well, I don't know why I said I was a machine, because obviously I'm human.
Well, you recovered well later in the afternoon. We did the Whatnot auction, which was just cool. We went down to Jesse's place, the Yesterday's Fits. If you're in Vegas, you're listening, go down to Yesterday's Fits.
Yeah.
And we got to watch kind of like from behind the scenes of a Whatnot auction that Carrie had done. And well, between Carrie, Kevin, and Dave, all the stuff that they had bought at the bins.
Yeah.
Or at the yard sale that morning, they were doing a Whatnot sale. And it was just, how smooth it looks from
the camera view.
From the camera view to how
much goes on.
And I think you can watch it. I think Dave was doing it live on YouTube, and I don't know what I couldn't find that other channel. What is that other channel? Do you know?
I subscribe to it. What's
Reselling Whatnot or Reseller or Whatnot? I don't know.
You're gonna make me look it up while we're on here?
Sure. We'll look it up. We'll give that a plug so people can go see.
That is definitely a better representation of what, if you watch that, what it's really like to do at Whatnot. Because like you said, on the Whatnot screen, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on. But on that YouTube, you can see. I'm guessing.
And they were, and the trash, that was a cool event to go to. And it was a small group of the resellers that were there. A lot of them had went out yard selling themselves. A lot of them didn't come. So there was a small, a small group of us there watching, and we got to, help out a little bit with, whenever they needed help holding something or, on camera while they were describing it, or because there was so much activity going on. I think the sale went well. That's what I'm trying to say. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I don't see the new YouTube.
Okay,
so I'm gonna have to look.
Well, I want to give a shout out too, because this was one of the times in represent. There was a fellow there, Zeke, Equinox Lutz, LOOTZ, I think. Equinox Lutz. Zeke is a local Vegas guy. He's a reseller. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he's a good reseller. We, I talked a lot about stuff, especially at the food court that night before I got to talk with them. And he was just so accommodating to all of us out of towners.
Yeah, he gave us anytime 3 times, right?
Yeah, anytime he took us home from the Whatnot auction. just very accommodating to everybody, like, if somebody said on the Discord or whatever,
Yeah.
hey, where are we going? We're meeting up. He would go pick them up. If somebody needed a ride to the next thing, he would take them there. And that was just really cool. And he wasn't the only one of the Vegas locals that did that. But he's the one that helped us out. We
Right,
rode with Sonny. We took a lot of Ubers. You see that? That's one
don't
thing.
Forget Sonny. Sonny gave us a lot. Gave us a ride
Sonny.
A couple places.
Yeah, and that's in Vegas. You see, but I went to Vegas. I went broke in Vegas. I went broke in Vegas too, but it wasn't from gambling. I bought a chapstick, a couple of sodas, and had to Uber every place.
Everywhere, yeah.
And there went all the money.
Yeah. And then the one time we tried to save some money from Ubering, we broke the machine.
Oh, okay. What about that? When we were going to, where was it that we were going? To the dinner.
Oh yeah.
So we have to take an Uber to the dinner, and we just like all the other times, because the Ubers, those drivers, they're ready to go. Jimmy would put it in his app, and we'd go downstairs, and pretty much as soon as we got there, the driver was there, or he was 2 minutes out.
Real quick, like Uber, because there's a lot of people that don't use Uber. Small town people that don't use Uber. Uber, in Vegas, every single location has a designated drop-off and pickup location.
Yeah.
Like you can't just walk out to the street and the Uber driver pick you up. No. Every hotel has a designated pickup and drop-off spot. Like it's And if you're an Uber driver and you've been doing it for a while down there in the Vegas Strip, those locations.
Yes.
So that's a different animal out in Vegas.
So, all the other times Jimmy puts it in the app. We go down. The driver's there 2 minutes away. Boom, we're in the ride. We're on our way.
Yep.
Well, we got to get to the dinner, the final event, the main event, what you bought the tickets for. And we go same process. We go down about maybe half an hour. It was only going to be about maybe 10-minute drive over to the thing. And they assign us a driver. And then after we're there about 5 or 10 minutes, they canceled that and assigned us another driver.
Yep.
Well, this driver just so happens was his second day being an Uber driver in Vegas.
Yep.
He has no clue where the drop-off point is. So Jimmy's talking to him on the phone, giving him directions of how to get there.
And I'm being as nice. My customer service skills kicked in, and I was being as nice as possible to this kid.
And I, however, was over in making comments.
He was making comments like, I'm punching him.
Oh, that's all right. A throw punch. That's all right. We're only late. So the event started at 5:00.
Yeah.
And I think he picked us up at like 5:08 or something like that. Man. And it was like,
and I have
the guy was nice.
Like I was not happy to be late for sure.
Yeah, because I want to you want to get there when it starts or be there before it starts. To mingle, see people come in, get a good table, whatever. Which we in the end we had a really good table to center focus for the D.O.G.
It had enough room for the line to form,
and had enough room for my big head.
Yeah,
that was there. That the dinner was great. Shout out to the Gordon Biersch. My food was really good.
I don't want to shout him. I don't want to shout him.
Oh, Jimmy had a little drink order issue.
There was a third fight. Yeah.
Jimmy got reprimanded at the bar. All he was up there, when we first got there, because we were, late. He just wanted to get a drink. Hey, give me, whatever. I don't even know what you were gonna drink, but
and you were right behind me.
Yeah. And the guy comes up and tells Jimmy,
drink. I got shoot out of there. And you got your drink.
The guy made Jim.
The bartender comes up and he goes, and he said, did you actually hear what he said?
No.
So he says to me, he said something like, I know you want to drink, but you're just holding up the bartender that I need to use. And I'm like,
okay.
So we're both waiting on the same thing. If you slow down the bartender, then I can't get drinks, and I'm the one that's supposed to be serving you or something like that. I'm like,
yeah.
So am I supposed to not just get a drink? Like that's what I said, and he's like, no, you can get a drink, but I'll get it for you. So I went back to sit down.
Yeah.
That's what. So I mean,
and
Now he tried to get my attention. Like, no, you told me to go sit down. I'm gonna go sit down.
And then he tried to catch you. He's like, man, I didn't mean to make that young. He said, I didn't mean to make that young fella mad. And he tried to catch you, but Jimmy was having none of that. So he went back and said, and then he turned around to me and I was like, I'll have like a Coke or Pepsi, whatever you have. Yeah. Certainly, sir. Boom. That's D.O.G treatment right there, Jimmy.
I'm really good at customer service. And when
I think the guy could recognize
is bad. I don't have a lot of tolerance for it, but I don't raise hell or anything. I just, whatever, you ain't serving me, you know, that's cool.
And, but he recognized the greatness that was.
He gave you your Coke, and I was like, so then I'm sitting down because I was told to, and Ken comes walking up with his Coke, and I'm like, what the heck? He kicked me out of there.
I was trying to get your attention too, because I was going to say, what do you want? I'll go ahead and order it for you, and then way.
It's not joking, but all aside, it was a great venue and it was a good time.
Yeah. It was.
I'm making a stink out of nothing.
Perfect out on that patio area. There was plenty of room for everybody. You know, you were spread out enough that you weren't sitting on top of one another.
Right.
But it's just a great place.
But we said no, Ken. There's plenty of room out here.
And you know, shout out to although I have no interest in them myself, and they don't, you know, do anything. Shout out to my reseller Genie, and to Supply Hut.
Yeah.
For
List Perfectly. They bought the dessert, I believe.
Yes.
That cheesecake was bomb.
And it was very good. That helped sponsor the event, the evening, the desserts, the foods, that sort of stuff. So go check out supplyhut.com and List Perfectly. And was it My Reseller Genie was the other one, right? Yeah, it was on the big banner.
Yep.
But it was a good evening.
And then just get to what you want.
At one point in the evening, the D.O.G brought out the headshots, and I signed. Oh wait, wasn't there one? Oh yeah, a little. Oh no!
Oh, a boo.
D.O.G. Kim. Oh well, yeah, Jimmy's like, what does that say? Oh, boo or something on there like where it says on.
The first one he did, it looked like an A and a B, not an N and an O.
It was my first day with my new Sharpie marker that I still don't know who sent to me. Some viewer.
That viewer sent me something else. We just been so busy and crazy with the moving and everything. We'll talk about it next week. I got another thing from the viewer.
Really?
I've had it for a while. I'm moving. Like, it might be packed already because Sonia's packing everything.
I'm waiting. I want to know what it is. We haven't talked
and show it next week. Yeah.
I had my silver Sharpie that I signed stuff, and I signed the first one. The first actual one went out to Bill in a box in the garage. That's probably where it's at now. He's probably just took it home, put it in a box in the garage, because
you marked that 1 of 1, right? Or no?
Well, I marked his 1 of 50.
Right.
Because that was the true starting, and because he wanted me to mark it, and then everybody else kept coming up. I want 1 of 1, so I don't know. There's about 3 or 4 1 of 1s. I think the greatest thing with that, well, let me tell you why I gave Bill the first one, is because I hadn't really met him yet, and we were at the In-N-Out Burger, and they were sitting at the table right beside us, and he says, hey, did you bring headshots with you? And I was like, cool. Somebody actually watched the podcast and paid attention. And so
thank you for watching, by the way.
Yes, thank you to everybody and new subscribers and some of the folks that we met. I'm sure some of these new subscribers. Thank you very much. Tell your friends, you know, have your grandma sign up. We don't care. But so he got number 1 out of the gate, and that was just fun. It was fun. Yeah, there actually was a line at one point
that had formed,
and then
there were some big name YouTubers in that line, which was crazy.
Yes, waiting for the D.O.G to sign the headshot. Yeah. And I think the funnest that we had with it was with Art, the Art of Resell. That dude is just crazy. He was having fun. I mean, he was practically
he was like, he turned it into like a shrine. Like he's gonna go home and make a SSKPromo shrine, the D.O.G shrine.
But just a really great evening, a really good event. And then, well, earlier in the day, when after, I don't know, in between the afternoon when we after the whatnot and stuff, I showed Jimmy how to play some craps.
Oh yeah.
His
Craps
first
is my new game, folks.
craps.
I know how to play now.
And so after the whole dinner event, we went back and we met up with some folks over at the Paris, because that was the night of the fight at the MGM. And that place was wall to wall. I mean, you couldn't, it was shoulder to shoulder in the whole casino.
Oddest fashion I've ever seen.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
I'm pretty hip to the game.
You're not going to see that in your new coming hometown, Jimmy.
No,
you know, you get overalls. You're going to get a lot of overalls. And
I thought those guys were dressed up for Halloween as the guys from Dumb and Dumber when they dressed up in the orange tuxedo and the blue tuxedo.
Yes,
but no, that was their actual fashion.
It was lots of interesting folks just to people watch. But at that point, you would get ran over if you were people watching. So we went with a small group of us, went over to the Paris, went down to the Paris Hotel, and we played some craps down there.
Everybody was winning, man. It was fun.
Everybody was winning that night. It was fun there. Yeah, doing that. Everybody got to take a little money. Some of us more than others. I don't want to,
Yeah, but it was still like everybody was cheering, having fun, high fiving, because like. Two people got on, now that I know how to play, two people got on some good rolling streaks and people were winning. Yeah. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yep.
Yeah. And so, we both took winning tickets out of the machine.
Yep.
And then we went back over to the
because
MGM.
It was a craps machine. It wasn't a live table.
Yeah, it was kind of
live table. Now Ken can afford to gamble at the live table, but I can't afford to. It's like a minimum of a $15 bid or $25 bid.
Yeah, most of the tables were $25.
Yeah, and so
you couldn't find a $15
minimum of $5. So we did the machine.
So and it was a good way to learn without. Yep. It's a good way to learn the game without having to blow, $25 a hand or whatever. Like I say, you can find some $15 tables, but so we played at Paris. We both, took our winning tickets and we cashed them in, and we were all
extra skipping our stride. Yeah.
Jimmy had a little D.O.G in him at that point.
Like, the machine is back, baby.
That's right. And then we went back to the MGM, and it kind of had broken up a little bit because it was a little bit later. And we thought, cool, we walked by another bubble craps is what
bubble guts is what I have.
Bubble guts. Yeah, Jimmy, not to be confused with bubble guts.
When the airplane was taking off, I took a bubble craps.
However, you did take a shit at the MGM at the bubble craps machine, because anything that we won over at the Paris, we gave straight back in, like, I don't know, what did we play? About an hour and a half over at the at the Paris.
Yep.
Win it, you'd be up, you'd be down, you'd be up, and we all finished up, and then we went over to the MGM, and it was like
10 minutes.
If that, when we were it started with $100, put $100 in, and then boom, gone. Just like that.
So the machine was done.
The roll of those dice was not friendly and kind, so it's like, well, that's just a good opportunity to go to bed. But Jimmy slot machine, he's like Mr. Papa Giorgio out there. He's like, I put in a quarter, I want a car. I put in a quarter, I want a car. I put in a quarter, I want a car. We could have drove ourselves around and not had the Uber every place. Jimmy had a big Hummer, and he had a little sports car that he kept winning in Vegas. Because
a Viper, Dodge Viper.
Yeah. Jimmy's a slot machine.
That's what they call me, slot machine.
But so yeah, that was kind of what the whole weekend. And then Sunday morning, I was having to fly out kind of in the afternoon later. But we got hit up by Jonathan Hustle Man.
Oh yeah.
And Thomas. Tom. That's his dad. Hustle Man's dad. Jonathan, and then Sonny also hit us up. We went to this really killer place called the Omelet House.
Yep.
Just like it almost looks like a family run, you know, where you can get bacon, eggs, and potato chips.
Which was odd. It was odd.
Okay. The menu says, okay, you're gonna get 2 eggs, you're gonna get like 4 bacon or sausage and spuds.
Right.
You're gonna get, you know, and your choice of bread, which they have this homemade banana bread there that was just it comes out hot and steamy.
So good.
And of course I got white toast. But but and it says spuds on the menu. Now, wouldn't you think that's gonna be like a hash brown or a home fry,
or
you know, just like
or
cut it,
squares, yeah.
Something. And it was freaking potato chips.
It was,
literally like they were fresh, homemade, that like they made them there, and they had a little like a spice, not a spicy salt, but I don't know, some sort of like a flavoring to them.
They had some kind of garnishing for sure.
And
I will say, as amazing as everything is amazing at that restaurant. Everything else was great, but that just didn't work.
No. And so we all had breakfast, bacon, eggs, and stuff. But Sonny had ordered for the table a big plate of zucchini sticks with like cheese sauce on. Oh, those were
deep fried zucchini sticks.
Deep fried zucchini sticks. Those things were awesome.
Yep, that was good.
I could have just eaten that whole plate, not had breakfast, but I got to be mindful of what I eat on travel day.
Everybody would have just gave me their banana bread. I would have just ate that.
It'd have been cool, but that's what everybody was looking forward to. So that was cool to just. It was just a chill morning, hanging out with Jonathan and with Sonny, Thomas, and just kind of. We talked a little reselling. We talked a little stuff about the events, and then just talked about this and that. So it was a nice way to kind of end things up. You know, then we went back to the hotel, and I just, you know, wanted to chill for a little bit before I had to, you know, finalize my pack and go home. And but Jimmy was still there one more day.
Yeah. So for the next episode, let's talk a little bit about what I did that Sunday night, and then my adventures. Going thrifting with Carrie and American Arbitrage and Dawn Lady Arbitrage. That was a good time.
Oh yeah, I've seen the videos. And Jimmy, you're on a 90-day vlog, video challenge.
Yep.
And so that's going to be cool.
Part of the summer.
So looking forward to that. So yeah, we'll talk about that on the next episode. I want to see what this new gift is. This is now first I'm hearing about.
I probably had it 2 weeks, but I'm sorry for the person that said I've been moving and things are kind of crazy around here. I think I know where it's at. So I'll try to have it for the next episode. I'll try my best.
So so that's it. Vegas wrap up, Trash Cash. Thank you sincerely, Dave, Carrie, and Kevin for putting on that event, for hosting all of us, for all the behind the scenes. Oh, but more importantly, thank you to Blue Ridge Mama, Tina Bina, and Dawn Lady Arbitrage for their patience with that wild bunch. It was great. I got to spend, you know, a little bit of time visiting with them. Mostly got time visiting with Tina because whenever we would walk someplace, Dave's just like way out there and Tina's, you know, just like back there by herself. So, you know, just get a chance to chit chat while Dave's like, you guys coming?
Yeah.
He's got places to go and people to see and stuff. So we're gonna wrap this one up. Jimmy, it was fun. And to you, thank you for your organization and stuff, getting the room. And
yeah, it was fun.
And the Uber app, I wouldn't have probably made it around Vegas. I'd have probably just hung out in the room until the next event and then said, well, can somebody give me a ride? And and so to everyone we met, it was a great time, and been enjoying everybody's Instagrams and stuff they're throwing out there, and the fun stuff they're still putting in the Discord. And so we'll catch you next time on the Reseller Clickbait Podcast.